Welcome back to Backward Point Podcast, a podcast where we discuss three things. One, how Virat Kohli is probably the greatest chaser in world cricket of all time. Two, Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli are quite angry at Kuldeep Yadav on the field, and that's a very scary thing to be in between of. And number three, the final of the Champions Trophy, a final that Pakistan should have hosted, will now be hosted by the UAE in Dubai. This and much, much more. Bashar Sayed with me, my co-host and my brother. Bashar, you saw the game. You saw the repercussions of the game. Thoughts, feelings?
Firstly, many congrats to India for making the semis, the finals actually, and for actually crossing the line with ICC tournaments and beating Australia, even though this was a B-strong Australian team. So they've been making the last three finals of the last...
consecutively they made, I think, 4 or maybe 3.
And that's going to be broken because they did not make it in the World Test Championship final.
Yes.
So consistently across formats...
White ball, at least.
I mean, they played the last World Test Championship final.
Yeah, true.
And the one before that as well.
I was... Are they going to play the next one?
No.
Yeah, so that's where their record streak is going to break.
But like the past few years, they've been consistently the best all-format team in all conditions.
Yeah.
So congrats to India. I just want to get a quick word from you because you said India will not make it to the top 4, and now India is in the top 2.
Yes.
So please, quick word on that.
Thank you for putting me on the spot for that. Man, that was an opinion of mine, and honestly...
What basis was that opinion formed on of?
I think it was a few things. Number one, I didn't know how deep this Indian batting went. I mean, the 3-1 against England at home doesn't really give much credence because...
3-0.
Was it 3-0?
They whitewashed.
They won one game. England won one game. Was it T20 game they won?
Perhaps.
Maybe. Anyways, home game advantage, I'm not really sure that I buy that. Pakistan won all their home games in 2024 and 23 and I believe 2022 as well. It was like crazy. They beat Australia 2-1 and so on and so forth. And it just feels like I didn't really judge them based on their ICC performances, which, with Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and even now Shubman Gill stepping up. Should have seen that coming. Also, there was like a gut feeling that I really wanted Pakistan and New Zealand to go through. I always knew New Zealand was going to be one of them. And it was between India or Pakistan. And, gut feeling said Pakistan, so I chose them. And now, they've proven me not wrong, but embarrassed me in front of the entire world without even winning a single game and getting knocked out in 5 days.
Great job. Perhaps do some more research next time you come on a podcast talking about how India will not make it to the top 4.
Okay,
because you have...
Since when are you the BCCI
You have triggered 2 billion people.
2 billion people don't watch this podcast. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here. We'd probably have a nicer studio. And I'd probably have a prettier host.
Dude, last podcast, I was out of focus. Shoaib Akhtar, of all people right now, was in focus and I was out of focus.
The hottest takes of all time. The wrongest takes of all time. Shoaib Akhtar.
Shoaib Akhtar just said that Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam should bat number 5-6 in T20s.
Different podcast. Let's not go there. Let's not go there at all. Like the whole ex-cricketers on social media, on TV thing. Let's not go there. Let's focus on this game. Australia underscored, in your opinion, what happened in their innings. You saw it. I saw it. Surprisingly, also, it is Ramadan, so we're actually waking up right as the toss is starting here in Canada. So like we watch about a lot of the first innings and then, wake up for work and watch the rest of the second innings. So your thoughts on Australia's batting, and then we'll get into India's chasing.
When Travis had got to a blistering start, I thought this was going to be his day. I thought he is on to another marathon century innings that he's been scoring against India in the past few big matches. And luckily, India's trump card, Varun Chakravarti, comes in, and first ball he balls against Travis Head, gets caught at long off by Shubman Gill. And India actually dropped a half chance by Shami, the first legal ball of the match. So
did Shami do a lot of wides again?
First ball was a wide, correct.
Okay, so this is like a consistent problem with him. His line really gets...
It's getting better. The 5 wides against Pakistan, the 1 wide here. So he's maybe next match, no wides.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of shocked because they lost Matthew Short, which is an attacking opening batsman and somebody who balls off spin for them. And I thought they would have replaced him with like Jake Fraser-McGirt, which is a like-for-like opener. But they went for Cooper Connolly, who I'm not sure has much experience opening. He has below average list A stats. So to put him as an opener in this crunch match against India, I wasn't sure if it was the best idea. He scored a 9-ball duck, and luckily Travis's inning sort of balanced that act out. But I think where Australia sort of lost the game was there was one point where I think they were like 160 for 4. And the moment where Steve Smith gets out,
That's the game-changing moment.
the last 14 overs, they could have scored like 100 runs or like 120 and got into like 280, 290. And that could have been a competitive total. Again, this is a beast-strong Australian team without Pat Cummins, without Mitch Stark, without Josh Hazelwood, without Mitch Marsh, Marcus Stoinis retired, and Matthew Short. So that's 6 of their main guys who fit into their playing 11 in any given ODI. And for Australia to, despite all that, make this a tight encounter is something that only Australia can find to do.
I mean, I feel like the Indians and the Indian fans were a bit nervous when that chase was going on. You know, you have the chase master Virat Kohli in your 11, so obviously things are going to be a little bit more smoother. But when it comes to just straight up nerves, I feel like Australia had them a lot more than India did, and that just goes back to experience as you were talking about. Dropping 3 catches, 2 of Rohit Sharma and then 1 of Virat Kohli, who then goes on to score 84. That's where they lost the game, honestly.
Well, Virat's chance was a half chance, but then that half chance was divided between Cooper Connolly and Glenn Maxwell. So they were both confused whether to go for it or who's going to go for it. So that half chance was divided by 2, which was a 1/4 chance.
I disagree because we've seen crazy catches being caught in this ICC Champions Trophy. Glenn Phillips is, remarkable in that stance.
Even Alex Carey in a recent match, I think it was against England.
Yeah.
Diving one hand.
And I know Saman Liaga caught a really good one against Khurshidil Shah's delivery. I know it was not in the Champions Trophy. It was right before the Tri Nation Series. But we've seen some crazy catches. Actually, where Saman Liaga caught that delivery was where basically Glenn Maxwell was, give or take a little bit. And I would bet money that Glenn Maxwell catches that like 8 out of 10 times.
But they were confused, right? So it was between Cooper Connolly and Maxwell.
Maxwell got his hand on it.
It was sort of like he went half-heartedly on that.
No, I think it's a full stretch dive, man. It was a full stretch dive. Like those are the half chances. Like you go back to the 2023 World Cup final where Travis Head catches Rohit Sharma in the first 4 overs or 5 overs, whatever it was. That's the type of fielding, that's the type of effort you need to overthrow a giant like India, right? And if you don't have that early on, then you're going to be trailing back. Even though I still think Australia did put up a good fight, but it's really tough to beat Virat Kohli when he's like on song right now. And like this man is just a beast, and we could probably talk about Virat Kohli for 3-4 hours, honestly. But if you want to finish on the Australian innings, then we can go into the Indian chase.
Yeah, I think Steve Smith, if he was Babar Azam, would come out and say they were at least 21 short.
Definitely.
So I think they scored 264, like 285, 280 here would have been good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think India, the game against New Zealand, proved that even if you make 250 on this pitch, and if you ball well, if you field incredibly well, you can still make a game out of it.
That's what I was telling you before. Like, I feel like the nerves were on Australia because I saw the entire second innings from ball 1 to all the way to the end, and the nerves were definitely on Australia. And Cooper Connolly, what?
No,
sorry, what? Cooper Connolly like drops a sitter and then he doesn't even do much with the bat. 9-ball duck. That's
but
tough.
Eventually he gets Rohit out.
I mean, a little bit too late in my opinion. The damage had been done. Rohit Sharma had gone to a blistering start, and I would probably say Dwarshuis did more than that. That spell getting Shubman Gill out, who looked really, really handy. If he had gotten off, this probably would have been done in 40, 45 overs. But you got to catch those, man. Labuschagne also had a really good chance of catching Rohit Sharma, but he missed it.
Shubman's first match with the MRF cricket bat.
Yeah, what's all that about? I don't know that he got switched to sponsors.
The thing with MRF is they only sponsor the elitist cricketers. So Sachin, I think, was they're one of their biggest signings. Firstly, Brian Lara, Steve Waugh, Virat Kohli, A.B. de Villiers, Prithvi Shaw.
Prithvi Shaw. I don't think that's the list.
And now Shubman Gill. So I feel like if you look at the Indian batting greats, it's being passed down from Sachin to Virat and now Prince Gill. But 8 off 11 balls.
I mean, he'll have a bigger.
I think Shubman Gill is still very young, but like he's been playing a few knockout games in ICC tournaments now, and he is yet to score any clutch performances.
It's very early in his career.
I know it's very early, but again, as he's progressing, as he's playing these matches, there's this tag that he can't score against good teams and knockout stages. So I hope he scores in the final and sort of removes that tag, because that same tag was also on Virat Kohli. Virat Kohli is a prolific run scorer in bilaterals, in league stages. What happens to Virat Kohli in knockout games. And then people look back at the 2017 Champions Trophy final, the 2019 semifinal. But Virat Kohli over time overcame that because he scored runs prolifically in the 2023 ODI World Cup, semis, finals. And then he was the player of the match in 2024 T20 World Cup final. So he's overcome that tag on him that Virat Kohli chokes in big matches and scored 84 today. I reckon he could have gone for 100.
I have stats for you for Virat Kohli in knockout games. Ready?
Go.
Champions Trophy semifinals, 2013, 58 not out. Champions Trophy final, 43. T20 World Cup 2014 semis, 72 not out. T20 World Cup final, 77. T20 World Cup semifinal, 2016, 89 not out. Champions Trophy semifinal, 96 not out. T20 World Cup 2022 semis, 50. ODI World Cup semis, 117. ODI World Cup final, 54 of 2023. T20 World Cup 2024 final, 76. And then today, Champions Trophy semifinal, 84.
Yeah, but I think the bigger matches that people remember of Virat Kohli choking was 2015 semifinal against Australia. Mitch Johnson gets him caught out on a pull shot. 2019 against New Zealand.
2017
against Pakistan. And then, yeah, that's the main ones.
I would still say that his ICC knockout games clutchness or him showing up outweigh him not showing up. I guess people remember the bad times because they were so close in winning. But at the end of the day, what more can a man do here? He has like a century and probably like a strike rate, an average over 50 when he's coming in these crushes.
The fascinating part about Virat's innings today is he scored 84, just the 5 boundaries.
How many singles was it? Like over 50 or something?
Dude, I think I saw a stat today, incredible stat. Virat Kohli has the most singles in this millennia. So in the year 2000s, he has over 5,500 runs just on singles. That's more runs than most people have in their entire career.
I think I saw a stat that just his singles, the runs that he got in singles would be in the top.
He could be the third highest
English batter or something?
English batters in ODIs.
That's crazy. That's a wild take.
And I saw his innings ball by ball. The way he was maneuvering the field, the way he was getting gaps, running hard. We saw him live and we noticed that. He's good enough to place through the gaps. If he can't even get the gaps, he can just tap and run. That's how quick he is because of his fitness. So to field 50 overs in the heat and then to bat for that long takes incredible amounts of fitness and skill to actually place the ball. Before this match, Virat Kohli had an incredible matchup against leg spin. So what Australia does is they play an extra leg spinner, Zampa and Tanvir Sangha, and they put them against Virat Kohli. But I heard is that Virat Kohli before, like in preparation for this match, was facing a lot of leg spinners in the nets to prepare for any potential matchups, and hard work pays off.
I think he did really well against Zampa and Sangha and Connolly and all those guys. I think he was rotating the strike pretty efficiently. Not even that, he never let the run rate bog down. I think the run rate went over 6 maybe once in the entire chase. That was also near the end. And Hardik Pandya showed how you finish a matchup when that happened. But
I feel like Hardik Pandya was taking the game deep on purpose. Like he was playing like 4 dots. And then he has so much self-belief that he's like, I can hit a 6.
Bro, that 6 that he hit straight, like almost a Jay Shah. I'm not gonna lie. That's like, is that a crime in India?
He hit 3 6s.
The one that went straight to Jay Shah's head was like personal.
106 meters, 81 meters, and then 101 meters. So he's a pretty skinny guy, but his 6s are enormous.
Bro, that's what I was thinking. Like it's the levers, it's the
bat swing,
it's the bat,
it's
the
his
wrist,
base.
It's his base. Yeah, he doesn't move when he's hitting those shots.
Head position.
Like the third or second 6 he hit, he didn't even look at where the ball went. He knew that he connected it and just like looked at the opposition in disgust. And Hardik Pandya, we've said this before, cheat code for India. And that's the type of player that England also has in Ben Stokes, that the Australian team is filled with, honestly speaking. And that's the type of player that Pakistan needs, but we get Fahim Ashraf. You think the Fahim Ashraf versus Hardik Pandya debate is over now?
It was actually Fahim Ashraf and Ben Stokes.
Fahim
Ashraf can't be compared to Hardik Pandya. Like Hardik Pandya, really? No.
Fahim Ashraf
and Ben Stokes.
Yeah,
that is the better matchup we have there.
I
apologize to the Fahimers out there. Fimus. I don't know what they call themselves these days. But yeah, Virat Kohli crosses 14,000 runs in the last match against Pakistan. Continues to build on that. This man is just an enigma. Is honestly a delight to see him score that century. I keep saying that. Like it's one of my most cherished memories, even though I was mentally, physically exhausted by the end of that day. I look back and I think about that century and I think about the pacing of those innings. And I look back at this century. Not this century. This knock that he had, player of the match, by the way. And I'm like, this is just a guy who's so tempered, so balanced. He knows exactly what is required of him in crunch moments, and he shows up. And that's just as simple as that. He will go down in history with the greatest greatest athletes of all time. You can put Muhammad Ali in there, Kobe Bryant. You can put Michael Phelps. You can put, I don't know, Michael Jordan, whoever you want, Tom Brady, you name it, Cristiano Ronaldo, Virat Kohli.
When Virat Kohli retires, and there's going to be eventually a book that he's going to write about his life.
You think so?
100%.
100%.
I think the title should be something around chasing, like Virat Kohli chasing greatness.
Yeah.
You're an author. Give me better titles.
I mean, I keep going back to that moment in the Champions Trophy 2017 where that guy screamed at Virat Kohli from the boundary and he said, "Nahi hota tujhse chase." And like just how the foresight on that guy to say that in that moment with Virat Kohli, who he is, kudos to him again. If anybody knows who that person is, please help us get in touch. I would rather have him on the podcast and do an hour with him. Just the confidence in that, because time and time again, except for that one innings in the Champions Trophy final, time and time again, Virat Kohli has shown us that he is the guy that will pace the innings, be it T20s, be it ODIs. I'm not really sure about his red ball stats, but I'm pretty sure those are pretty good as well. So this is the guy who knows how to balance and temper his innings. You cannot. He's the GOAT. I cannot lie. He's the GOAT.
Also, India having Akshar Patel at number 5 just adds a different balance. So what they did is they took Sky out of their ODI team. They put Akshar Patel in. And Akshar Patel was supposed to be a floater, but now he is a fixed number 5. So what it does is that it gives India bowling depth because he's a proper bowler. He can bowl 10 overs. Also, he's a proper batsman, so he can come in, strike the ball, hit big shots, hit the gaps, have partnerships, and it also lengthens the batting order. So because he comes at 5, KL goes to 6, Hardik goes to 7, Jadeja comes at 8.
Bro, that's crazy. Look at the depth in that. Also, Akshar Patel in nomination for the top 4 player of the tournaments. Him, a couple others. I think Janssen was in there too. That's the type of player he is.
Was Khushdil there? Bro, he's Pakistan's highest run scorer.
That's true.
Put some respect on that name.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. No, Khushdil was not, unfortunately.
You were talking about, before this podcast, how India has 4 spinners.
Yeah.
And how that also is a cheat code.
They introduced Varun Chakravarti in the last game against New Zealand, takes a 5-fer, comes in, takes another 3-fer here, or 2-fer, I believe.
Actually, a pretty full circle moment for Varun Chakravarti because it was in this same ground where he faced Pakistan in the 2021 iconic T20 World Cup match, the 1-5 2-for-0.
Yeah. And
he got a good smashing by Babur and Rizwan, and we didn't really see much of him after that.
Yeah.
And for India to bring him into the side, now I heard he had some pretty good domestic performances in the past 2 years. And we saw him actually training pretty hard in the mid-innings break. He had this, so he had like one stumps he was aiming at, and he also had this box where he was at the length position. So he's just trying to hit the ball, hit the wickets as much as he can, vary his pace. And he's developed like a few different balls. He has this back of the hand ball that he bowls.
Yeah, that's a very good one. That's a very good. I think he's just a cheat code right now when it comes to what the depth that India have in their spin bowling attack. And it infuriates me again. Because I look at this, and I was telling you this before the podcast started. India plays 4, we play 1. I imagine if Pakistan has had another leg spinner in there, like a Sufyan Mukim type situation, maybe things would have been different. Maybe they would have been playing in the semifinals. But as it stands right now, it's just shameful because I have to compare. It's the same tournament. These two teams played against each other just more than a week ago. I have to compare, and it infuriates me to see that India was so far ahead in the planning aspect of it, and Pakistan was nowhere close.
Well, the other thing is that the reason why India is able to plan this far and for these conditions is because India is playing in just the Dubai stadium. They're staying in Dubai. They're playing at the Dubai International Stadium at the same ground, living in the same hotel, and practicing at the same facility. So they know exactly what team to pick, what conditions they're playing in. And actually, I don't think enough people are talking about this. I heard Nasir Hussain, Michael Atherton, and then Rusty Van Ruderson speak about how India has an unfair advantage because they're playing all their matches in one stadium in the same conditions. They're living in the same hotel, traveling with the bus, practicing at the same facilities, and all the other teams are working around the clock to accommodate for India. I don't know if you heard this, but just before the semifinal, both South Africa and Australia traveled from Pakistan to Dubai without knowing which one is qualified for semis and which one has to fly back to Pakistan. And overnight, South Africa had to go back to Pakistan because they were to face New Zealand in Lahore.
I had no
And
idea. This is crazy.
This is actually insane. Like
No other sport does
so
this.
both teams traveled to Dubai knowingly that one of them has to travel back to Pakistan overnight.
That's
like this is absolutely ridiculous what's happening. Like I think at this point the ICC should just give the Champions Trophy to India. Like what is even the point of playing the finals?
But I think India head coach Gautam Gambhir would disagree with you. He would tell you to grow up. Did you hear his press conference? Because that's what he said.
I heard about that.
He would tell you to grow up. This is his quote. Quote, "See, first of all, this is a neutral venue for us as it is for any other team," Gambhir said. And saying, keep the quote continues, "We have not played here. I don't remember when we last played here. And in fact, we didn't plan anything like that." And they said, so it's not like we wanted to spin a spinner's web. And then this is where he says, and the conditions there are 180 degrees. Some people are just perpetual cribbers, man. They've got to grow up. So I feel that there was nothing like we had any undue advantage.
So look at Australia, right? They chased down a record chase against England in Lahore. Lahore had one of the flattest pitches. And
Batting paradise.
And then they had to come into Dubai. And this stadium where the ball stays low, there's spinny conditions. And they had to change their whole game plan around these conditions.
I have a question for you. If India hypothetically were to play in Pakistan, and if they came to Pakistan, would they play four spinners?
I just think, I don't know if they would play four spinners or not, but it should at least be the same level playing field for all teams. Like, how is it? Why are South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, any team but India traveling around Pakistan in different conditions in Pindi, Karachi, Lahore, whereas India just stays in Dubai?
To play devil's advocate, this is something that the other board should have said something about when this was being drawn up. The mismanagement of this entire tournament is, not begotten on anyone. It goes back to all the way to 2021 when this was signed up that Pakistan was going to host this. Nobody said anything, including BCCI said nothing about it then. And then when this was renegotiated a few weeks ago, again, no board, including Pakistan's board, came up and was like, hey, maybe we should make them play in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Just logistically, that's a bit better. It gets everybody a fair chance. It's not even that far. It's an hour and a half drive. We made that drive recently in Dubai. So maybe you didn't just change stuff up a little bit, give everybody a fair shot. Nobody said anything like that. So I obviously Gautam Gambhir is going to come out and say stuff like grow up and, cribbers or whatever, perpetual cribbers, whatever he said. The other thing, I asked you the question about the spinners is because I feel like because India knew that they were going to play their entire set of games in Dubai, they basically had a forged squad that assisted them in that situation. All the other teams had to sort of balance themselves with Dubai and Pakistan, while India went Dubai heavy. That's why I asked you, would India play four spinners in Pakistan? And probably the answer is no.
Like even when Bumrah got injured, India had an opportunity to replace somebody with Bumrah, and they added Varun Chakravarti, who took a 5-4 against New Zealand and then took a big wicket of Travis Head in this match. So because they knew the conditions, they were able to plan accordingly. And I actually had the same issue when India was facing the semifinals in Guyana last year for T20 World Cup. So no team knew where they would be playing in the semifinals, but except for India. India knew where they would be playing at what time. So at this point, the ICC is just a project management event planning committee.
For the BCCI?
They're not like a governing body who can look over these things. And they're just giving into the politics and the money.
Brings in what, 88%? 80% of the revenue? There's no way that the ICC will stand up to these guys ever. And this is something I tweeted from Backward Points account. I actually want to read this straight up. I tweeted from the account because I was really distraught that the fact that the final is not going to be played in Pakistan, and Pakistan spent however many $1 million to renovate the Lahore Stadium, and it actually looks amazing. And I tweeted, Pakistan hosted Champions Trophy final will be held in Dubai. And then I tweeted, the only way to combat this clear favor to the Indian cricket team is to be a better cricket team. Pakistan cricket needs to get its house in order, otherwise there will be a footnote in world cricket.
So don't get me wrong, the same thing will happen next year when the T20 World Cup is scheduled to happen in India. Pakistan will play all their matches likely in Sri Lanka or the UAE, which again is not fair. It should not be happening.
I think it's going to be in Sri Lanka.
I think if the ICC has some credibility, they would probably just take away hosting rights from India and Pakistan
for the next foreseeable future.
Yes, until they sort things out.
But do you think that will sit well with BCCI?
Absolutely not.
They've spent way more money than Pakistan cricket, whatever you even can imagine, on their cricket grounds. Have you seen the Ahmedabad ground, bro? That's insane. It's a sea of blue. Have you seen
The Narendra Modi Stadium?
the Narendra Modi Stadium? Yes. Have you seen all the other grounds? Like the amount of work that's gotten into them just to be presentable in these ICC.
Well, actually,
events.
that's also for their own IPL matches.
Sure,
as well.
fair enough. But they also want to posture on the world stage with these grounds, with these state of the art technology, with the world. And if they get taken away the ICC rights, then that's just going to be havoc. And I don't think the BCCI will agree with that, especially with Jay Shah helming the ICC. Forget about it. But like, think about this. If that were to happen, because 2031 is when the cycle will they'll renegotiate another 10 years. Is that how it works?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So let's just look back from 2031, right? How many ICC events did India host in the past 10 years? Starting from 2021 to all the way to 2031. They have the ICC World Cup. They're going to have the T20 World Cup. They also, technically, was it the 2020? No, that was Australia. That was supposed to happen, right? The T20 World Cup that was held in Dubai. Was that in Dubai? Was that an Australia thing?
It was
or
supposed
India
to happen in 2020 in Australia.
in Australia.
But then it got
So that's
pushed
not for India.
because of COVID, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the Asia Cups and all that. Like, look at how many ICC events they get versus how many ICC events the entire world gets. Pakistan got hosting rights after 29 years. And okay, yeah, the past 15 years, they had like terrorism or whatever, 2009, moving forward. But from 1996 all the way to 2009, they didn't have anything. And they were stripped away from the 2011 World Cup. They were supposed to co-host that. Did not happen, and so on and so forth. So I don't think that India would like this, and I don't think that the BCCI would ever agree to that, even though maybe that's a more fair model that both these countries don't get hosting rights.
What happens is that just as a normal cricket fan, if you're not supporting Pakistan or India, let's say you're supporting like South Africa, and you're watching all of this unfold, you're like, yo, why is my cricket team going to Dubai for absolutely no reason, only to fly back the same night? And if they make the finals, they have to fly back to Dubai again to play the finals in a condition where they haven't played the whole tournament. Whereas one team is, traveling different cities, they're playing different venues, different conditions, and India stays at the same hotel, same ground, same conditions, plan the team accordingly. It's not a level playing field. Even if India wins, it has a certain bitterness attached to it.
Was it ever a playing level field when it was BCCI and Indian cricket team involved? I know we're going to get a lot of fun comments after this, but let it behold. Bishad, do you want to wrap this up? Anything else? We did mention the Kuldeep Yadav situation. Did you see that?
I saw that.
Thoughts, feelings? Because I feel like that should have been the start of the podcast.
I think Kuldeep is one of the unfitter guys in the Indian team. We've seen
saw him run. It was tough.
We've seen. I think he has some stiffness issues and just in the field, not the quickest.
The third man position where he's fielding is an automatic run. That's as nice as I can say.
And India's constantly trying to hide him at short fine leg. And then also it doesn't help because Varun Chakravarti is also not a fit, super good fielder. So they also have to hide him as well. So when you have three to four bad fielders in the team, it becomes really hard to hide them, and some of them do get exposed. But what Kuldeep did and what Virat was sort of mad at him was just basic club level stuff. When somebody throws, get behind the wicket, collect the ball, try to hit it back on the stumps. So Virat and Rohit's anger justified.
Somebody said, put Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma in between and put the entire Pakistan team in between. Let them go at it. I think that was the summation of the entire tournament for Pakistan perspective, and I just thought that was a really interesting moment. I like that. I remember it goes back to Yunus Khan. Remember in 2009 when South Africa semi-final where Mohammad Amir did the same thing. He was not going behind the stumps and he got yelled at.
Yeah,
it reminded me of that. Anyways,
the one thing we haven't talked about yet actually is Yashi Sports.
Oh my lord,
Canada's home of cricket.
And we also haven't talked about one more thing, but yeah, finish the Yashi Sports. Talk,
yeah, so Yashi Sports. When I say Yashi, you say sports. Yashi.
Okay.
Yashi.
Sports.
Yashi.
Sports.
They're
India.
They're Canada's home of cricket. They're the go-to place if you're a North America cricket fan. Whether you're an experienced guy looking to upgrade your equipment, whether you're a new cricket fan looking to get into cricket playing, Yashi Sports is a place to go. Get top-notch equipment, get the expert advice, and if all of that wasn't enough, you get an exclusive code BP10 for 10% off your next purchase. Go to yashisports.com. They have free shipping on orders over $350 USD.
What team can beat India, New Zealand, or South Africa?
South Africa.
Really?
Yes.
You don't think New Zealand? Because I think New Zealand
I
is the
just
one.
I just feel like I have a huge bias because I'm a massive fan of Henrik Larsson. And I think if he gets going, he can single-handedly take the game away.
So you're saying it's going to be a 2024 T20 World Cup repeat?
Only if South Africa finishes the match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I still think New Zealand is, with the way that Bracewell is spinning the ball, the way that Sandra is captaining these boys. I'm telling you, man. Even though they got beat once in the group stages, they were pretty close in closing in a good finish. Man, look out! I'm telling you guys, look out! If New Zealand make it through, it's gonna be a tough one for your boys.
We should be
blue.
back here tomorrow for the semifinal to review,
100%.
and then also the day after for a finals preview.
100%.
So stay tuned.
Lots of pods coming. Actually, we're doing a back-to-back today. So if you've seen this one and you want to see the other podcast where we talk about a certain squad that was announced for a certain team, then you can check that out as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope no feelings were hurt. Nobody was offended. These are, again, just our opinions and they could be wrong. Again, they are just our opinions. So no need to be super brash in the comments. Even if you are, we will ignore you. But thank you guys for tuning in and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Cheers.